Hello viewers, welcome to Kids Auto and Truck Repair. Today we have a 2000, what year is this one?
14.
2014 Hyundai Sonata with a 2.0 liter engine. The customer complaint on this vehicle is the check engine light remains on the dash and the vehicle is losing power. The engine is misfiring. Actually, we had Robin look at it. Before I asked Robin to tell us what's wrong and what he found on this vehicle, I want to give a shout out to our cameraman Kyler. Thanks for being here. And I also want to give a shout out to the owner of this vehicle, who is my brother, Mr. Ahmad Touré. Thank you very much for bringing business to us. So, Robin, tell me what you did, because I had Robin outside. So this vehicle was outside. I asked Robin to do the diagnosis on this. He did some tests. He's going to tell us what he did, and then we're going to pick up from there and figure out what's wrong with this.
So what I did, I realized the customer has a misfire. Check the car, find out the cylinder number 3 and 4.
Okay.
I rotate ignition coil pack from 3 to 1. It still remain at 1.
Okay.
So that's what I've done.
That's
so
what
far.
you did.
Yes.
And you also did like a power balance test with your scan tool?
No, I did not do it yet.
You didn't do that? Okay.
No.
It's okay. Cool. So basically, just to recap what was done, Robin scanned the engine, check engine light was on, misfire codes.
Yes.
He swapped coils around, but the misfire didn't follow the coils.
No.
But those engines kept misfiring.
Yes.
So now what we're going to do is, let's turn the key on. I have the scan tool connected to the vehicle already. So I'm going to grab my scan tool. So key is on. We're going to verify the codes that we have. And then there are some tests that I wanted to share with Robin. I mean, Robin is good at this kind of stuff, but I'm going to show him the way I do things, some of the quick tests I do to get to the bottom of this. One of the tests I told you off camera was doing a relative compression test, which you had questions about.
Yes.
So we're going to do this.
All
You
right.
see how I'll walk you through how I do this one. Okay, so the scan tool has identified the vehicle 2014 Hyundai Sonata with a 2.0. So let's click OK. So I'm going to do a code scan. This is going to scan all the control units on the vehicle. Okay, so on my scan tool, we have cylinder 3. Was that cylinder 3 that was
I
misfiring?
have 3 and 4 on mine.
Oh, you have 3 and 4 on yours. Okay. Actually, you were using an RTL scan
Yes.
tool. I'm using a snap-on one. So
I don't know.
I don't know. But
I have
okay,
it saved to my computer. if you
we're
wanna-
going to go with what we're seeing over here. So cylinder 3, which is going to be this one here.
Right.
Now, most of you are very familiar with misfire codes. Usually when an engine misfires, it's because we're either missing spark, fuel, or we may have a mechanical problem in this specific cylinder. In this case, we're talking about cylinder 3. So if we have a mechanical issue, that's going to affect the compression in that cylinder, and that can cause a miss. So we have to figure out, and we have to do some tests to figure out what we're missing. Are we missing spark? Are we missing fuel in this cylinder? Or do we have a mechanical problem? So that's what we need to figure out. So there are a couple of things we can do. So Robin, you can come and look at what I'm doing here.
Okay.
So since it's cylinder 3, we can go a couple ways about this. I mean, there's no specific way of dealing with this.
All right.
You can, like what you did off camera is good too. You can swap coils just to see if the misfire follows the coil. The other thing that I like to do is, we can do this really quickly. We can look at fuel trim numbers
great.
before we do a relative compression test.
Great.
So let's go to data, because fuel trim numbers can also give you an indication of what kind of issues you have. From experience, if you have high positive fuel trim numbers, it means your problem is in the fuel delivery problem. So if you have high negative numbers, it means your problem is in the ignition system, because the computer, if you have high negative numbers, the computer is trying to pull away fuel from that cylinder or from whatever cylinder that's misfiring. If you have high positive numbers, it means the computer is trying to open the injector longer to send more fuel in the cylinder. So that can tell you, that can kind of give you a clue of where the issue might be. So Let me see if we have fuel trim numbers here. We might have to go on the generic side of the scan tool to see that.
Okay.
Because last time you asked me, remember?
Yes.
So Robin asked me, this was like a couple of days ago. You
Yes.
said, why do you go sometimes from OEM to generic?
Yes.
Now, this is a good example of it.
All right.
You see how I'm going through the data list?
Yes.
And I don't see fuel trim numbers.
Right.
Now, sometimes they write the data PIDs differently. I mean, some manufacturers write data PIDs differently. You know, I'm sure fuel trim numbers might still be here, but maybe they call them like a different name,
Right.
you know, a different format. So we're just going to go to the generic side, which we're all familiar with, and it's going to be easy to read.
Okay.
So we're going to back out, and then we're going to go to OBD direct, because the generic side will be identical across the board, no matter what vehicle you're working on.
Okay.
And also the good thing about this is that if you, like, let's say if you're checking a sensor, and if that sensor is faulty, there is something called substituted values. So like values that computers will default on, and on the generic side, you can't have those.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so, and you see this when you like diagnose sensors. And of course, over time, I'll show you how to like see this. Okay, so we're in the generic side. Let's look at the code one more time. I like to check to always make sure we have the same code. So that's good. Now we're gonna go to data display. Now we can also look at freeze frame to see when the code's set, because that can also give us a clue on what happened. But let's customize this list. Fuel trim, and so let's grab our fuel trim, short term and long term. That's it. Maybe our O2 sensors too. Okay. We don't have to look at mass airflow sensor. We don't have to look at everything else because we have one cylinder that's being affected right now. So I'm gonna graph my fuel trim numbers. So right off the bat, as you can see, we have minus 21.7 on the long term. So it means the computer is trying to pull out fuel.
Right.
Okay. So based on these numbers, before we even start the engine, I can tell that our issue is most likely not on the fuel delivery side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, this is not 100% accurate. But, I mean, you still have to go back and double check, but this kind of gives you an indication of, you know, where the issue might be or what system you may not start with.
Okay.
So now let's start the engine. So go ahead and get the engine started, and let's see how these numbers will change while the engine is running. All right, so the engine is running. We're still in open loop. Yeah, this thing is misfiring very badly.
Very bad.
I don't want to run it for too long, because if you run it for too long, you may damage the cat.
Right.
So right now, we went in closed loop. We have about 8.6% on the short term and minus 21 or 25%. So this number minus this number, we're still within the plus or minus 10% total trim. So our fuel trim numbers right now look normal. I don't see a problem with our fuel trim numbers. So now let's turn off the engine. Let's do a relative compression test now.
Got it.
Let me grab my lab scope test leads, and then I'll bring you guys back up. All right, so I have my test lead here. So we're going to do a relative compression test. So now let's go to our lab scope. So my man Robin, let me show you how I do a relative compression test.
There you go.
You guys will see this on the screen as cameraman Kyler puts this up. So you can take this alligator clamps. So we just need one test lead, because we're just gonna use one channel on the scope.
So you're doing this instead of removing the ignition coil and the spark plug and put a gauge to it.
That's a good question. Yes, you can also do it that way.
Right.
So Robin is asking why I'm not putting on. Okay, so we have a customer coming in to drop off a vehicle, So I'm gonna go talk to them and then I'll be right back. All right, so we got our test lead here. So Robin is gonna connect that to the battery.
So
So
this.
yellow is gonna go to battery positive and black is gonna go to battery negative.
Okay.
We're gonna connect this over here and this right here.
Okay. Right there.
Nice. Okay. So
Right.
now we're gonna set up our lab scope. Cameraman Kyler is gonna put this up for you guys to see. Okay. So you see how it's down because we are AC coupling this.
Okay.
So if we go down here, we should see battery voltage. Okay, we have 12 volts there.
Okay.
We see 12.05.
Right.
So that's good. Now to do a relative compression test, we have to AC couple this because the current that the starter is going to draw to crank the engine
Right.
is not going to be really high. So if we stay on this scale, we're not going to see it.
Oh, okay.
We might miss it. So we're going to AC couple this. It's going to bring this line down.
AC couple.
See that? And then we're going to lower our scale so we can see it. Let's go down to 1 volt. Okay.
Okay.
And then we need more time across the screen so we can see repetition.
Right.
So 1 second is good. Okay. Now, I don't know if this one has clear flood. So you can go in the car and step all the way or step on the gas pedal, go all the way to the floor,
Right.
and then crank the engine because we want the engine to crank but not start.
Okay.
Okay. So try to do that.
All right.
And then if there's no clear flood mode, we might have to disconnect we might have to remove the fuel pump relay or maybe the coils. We'll see.
All right.
So step on the gas all the way and crank it. All right. It looks like there's no clear flood.
No clear foot.
Yeah, try one more time. Step. Crank. All right. There's no clear flood mode on this
Nope.
one. So that feature doesn't exist here.
Doesn't
So-
work with this one.
Yeah, let me see if we can remove a fuel pump relay. Let's see. Oh, right here. Fuel pump. Right here. It's a 10 amp, 20 amp fuse. This fuse.
Let me-
Let's
give me a
pull
second.
this fuse. So right here,
Give me a second.
cameraman Kyler, if you can see this fuse. So this 20 amp fuse. So that's the fuel pump fuse, which is this guy over here. So let's remove
this
that.
fuse
Yeah,
here?
that, no, 20 amp.
There's a yellow one
let's
right
pull,
here.
let's yank that out. Okay. So the engine should not start right now.
Okay.
Go ahead and crank it. Let's see what we got.
I'll crank it right now.
Yeah. It's gonna die. What? Turn it off? Did we remove the right fuse? Crank
Let's
it
make
again.
sure. I
Now-
think that the wrong fuse.
We probably pulled out the wrong fuse.
Yes.
Let me double check. So let me put this fuse back.
We're gonna light up.
Okay. Let me see. But that's what it says here. F pump. Right here.
It's
Fuel
20
pump.
amp.
Yeah, that's what we removed. This guy.
So in the right direction.
Is there
ECU.
another one? Maybe a relay, maybe?
Probably. 1, 2, 3. Horn. 15 amp. ECU 10 amp. Fuel pump.
Injectors. Let's disconnect the one that says injectors.
That would
So
be-
let's disconnect this one. Let's disconnect the fuel pump and the injectors one. I think this is the one that supplies power to the injectors.
So it's
Let's
this,
disconnect both of them.
this 15 amp.
Yeah, that one and the 20 amp. Let's remove both
And
because we just want to disable the engine. Yeah,
20 amp.
perfect.
All right.
Let's see. We just want to prevent the engine from starting. Okay, crank it. Let's see. What? Did it die?
Yes.
Okay, nice. Okay, hold
All
on.
right.
Okay, that's good. Maybe there was some residual fuel in the system. That's why it started. Okay, try it. Okay.
All right.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, this is a problem. This is a problem.
Can I come now?
Hold on. Okay, crank it. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you can come out.
Okay.
Okay, so this is, yeah, we have a problem here.
What
We
is
have
the
a problem.
problem? What's the
So,
judgment?
okay, so on this, although this signal kind of looks dirty, so we should have, you see how we have these peaks and valleys here?
Right.
You see we have a big one, 1, 2, and then big one, 1, 2, and then big one. So look at this big one. It's
Right.
repetitive. We have one here, one here, one here, one here, right? So if we count them, we only have 3. So big one, small, small, big, small, small, big, small, small, big. So we only have 3 humps. So which means we're missing a cylinder.
Oh, sure.
We should have 4 because we have 4 cylinders.
Right.
So this big one over here, this tells me that when this piston is coming at top dead center, the starter is spinning faster because the cylinder next to this does not have compression.
Wow.
Okay, because when this cylinder here, since it doesn't have compression, the starter is spinning faster, so which is causing the start, which means the starter is not drawing enough current because there's no resistance in that cylinder.
Right.
Okay, so this over here doesn't look good. It's an indication of a low compression in cylinder 3. Now, to double check, we can use a compression gauge
Right.
just to be 1000% sure. Actually, let's do this test one more time, but I want to filter the signal just so it can look a little bit cleaner.
Okay.
Can you crank it one more time?
Absolutely.
And then we're going to use a gauge to do a compression test on this cylinder. This is not looking good, guys. Crank it.
Cranking.
All right, we're good.
Keys on.
Yeah. Actually, you can turn the key off.
Can I turn it off?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, man.
Uh-oh.
Amma is not going to want to see this. Yeah, so you see how clean this is now?
Uh-huh.
Because we just filtered the signal. So look, big, small, small, big, kind of 2 together. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so you see that? This is a problem. Yeah, so we're missing, it's supposed to be the peaks like this. Remember what we did yesterday when we were doing the Corvette? We did a relative compression test on the Corvette
yes,
yesterday.
yes.
Remember we had peaks and valleys across. Yeah, all of them were the same across the screen. But right now, as you can see, we have only 2 good ones.
Right.
But this one over here is a problem. We can synchronize it to see what cylinder it is. I mean, we already know it's cylinder 3, but
How would you synchronize it?
so you would use another channel. I can use another channel and put it on the coil,
Oh, okay.
coil number 1, and you're gonna see it's gonna fall over here. Whatever cylinder number 1 is, it's gonna fall there. Then we can just count. We can use a firing order and to figure out what cylinder is losing compression.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, since this is pretty easy, I mean, we can do that just to. Okay. All right, guys, what we're about to do right now, if you do this kind of stuff, it's probably not really important. But since I'm showing Robin how to do this, I'm going to do this really quickly so I can show him how to synchronize the relative compression to figure out what cylinder is misfire. I mean, what cylinder has low compression. So let me grab my other test lead. We're going to do that really fast before we do a manual compression test. All right, so we're going to use our second channel to synchronize this. So I'm gonna connect my green test lead over here. Now, if we look at the ignition coils here, so cameraman Kyler, hopefully you can see this. So on all these coils, we have a orange wire, and then there's orange and blue, blue and white trace. And then on this one, there's orange and blue. And then here there's orange and green. And then here there's orange and red. So all these coils have an orange wire, which means the orange wire is the power supply wire to all the coils because they all share the power supply. And then the other wire that has a different color, that's the control wire of the coil. So I'm going to back probe the control wire. Okay, and then we're gonna connect our test lead right there. So this is gonna be our sync. So we're gonna synchronize that. So what I'm gonna do now, we're gonna come here, and then we're going to turn on the second channel. Okay, so right here.
Do you turn the key on?
So we're gonna have to crank it, but let me go back here first. Let's figure out the firing order. What year is this thing? 2012, we said?
14.
14?
Mhm.
Okay. It's a Hyundai,
Yeah.
right? Where is it? Right here. Hyundai 2014 Sonata. Is it Geo? Hybrid? No, hybrid base. So limited. I think it's limited. Can you check,
I can
please?
double check.
Is it limited or SE? Limited?
Is that limited?
Limited. Perfect. Thank you. 2.0, right?
Yes. Turbocharged.
Turbocharge. Okay. Let's see if we have a firing order. We're gonna go to right there. Firing order.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. So firing order is right here. Firing order is 1, 3, 4, 2. Okay.
Okay.
So one fires first. 1, 3, 4, and then 2. Okay. So now let's go to our lab scope. Now go ahead and crank the engine.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. Turn it back on.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Turn it on.
No, you can come back out
Okay.
now. Okay, now check how cool this is. Check this out. So green trace is actually our, right here. Green trace is our coil control,
Okay.
okay? If you notice, they're falling at the same spot.
Exactly.
Can you tell?
Yeah.
So this over here is cylinder 1. So if we invert this, hold on. So it's upside down. Let me invert it. Invert. Okay, crank it one more time. Let's take a capture one more time. Because if we invert it, it's gonna look a lot better and it's gonna be easier to see. All right, perfect. Nice. So come check this out.
All right.
This is cool.
All right.
This is cool. I hope you guys will enjoy this as much as I am enjoying this. So let me move this down. Maybe here. Okay, so this is cylinder 1. Because that's where our
Right.
trigger is or
Right.
signal is.
Right.
So this is 1. So our firing order, let's go back to the firing order. Okay, our firing order is 1, 3, 4, 2, right? Remember. So 1, 3, 4, 2. So since this is 1, this is 3, 4, 2.
Yes.
And then 1 again, 3, 4, 2. This 3 is dead,
Completely dead.
completely dead.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
How cool is that? So we
That's
didn't
great.
even remove any components. So I couldn't really see it properly last time because it was the pattern was inverted.
Right.
So what I did was I just inverted it.
Right.
So you see how 1 has compression, 3 is dead.
Right.
Okay, so this here is cylinder 3. So we should have had another peak over here,
Right.
but it's missing. So 1, 3, 4. Now, since 4 comes after 3,
Right.
you see how 4 is higher?
Very high.
Because in that cylinder, since there's no compression, so the starter is not drawing enough current. So it's actually spinning the crankshaft in that cylinder on that stroke a lot faster.
Yes.
So it's going faster, and then when it gets to the 4th cylinder, it goes. So the starter has spun faster, so it has a lot of force. So it pushed that one, all the way up. So that's why it causes this peak over here to be higher on cylinder 4.
Okay.
Because if we restore the compression on cylinder 3, they're all gonna even out.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yes. So 1, 3, 4, 2. 1, 3, 4, 2. So right there. So we have a dead cylinder.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Absolutely dead.
number 3 is dead. We have low compression in cylinder 3. So now, I hope this makes sense.
Yes.
Any questions?
No, this is it's very opening my eyes up to more to what you're doing.
Okay.
To work smarter, not harder.
Not harder, yeah.
We can do a compression test just to prove
Yeah.
up and beyond everything,
Yeah.
but right here we're done.
Yeah, and actually this is very helpful if you know on some engines how some cylinders or some coils
It's
are covered
by the
by the
intake or
intake.
the
Yeah, so
firewall.
when you do it this way, you can save a lot of time, and you
Yes.
can pretty much make a definitive call
Yeah.
without taking stuff apart.
Right.
Now, just for our viewers, right now we're done with our diagnosis. This engine has a dead cylinder. So at this point, we either have to take the engine apart to figure out what happened, or we have to change the engine.
Yes.
So there's a lot more that needs to be done. At this point, I'm gonna call my brother. I mean, he's a good friend. He's like a brother to me. I'm gonna tell him what we found. I don't know if he's gonna fix it. We might have to get another engine, or maybe we're gonna take it apart and rebuild it. So we don't usually rebuild engines here because of the cost and the parts availability, but if he wants us to do it, we can do it.
Right.
So Robin, if we can remove the 3rd coil and use a compression gauge.
Right.
So if you can go ahead and remove that coil. So Robin is gonna disconnect the coil, and then we're gonna remove the spark plug also, so we can attach our compression gauge to the spark plug hole. We're gonna remove the spark plug and do a compression test there. Look at that. It's probably really fouled.
Yes.
Yeah. Or the fuel going in and that was not burning. Okay, so we're gonna attach our compression gauge to cylinder 3. Nice.
All right.
Perfect.
You can hold on
Okay,
to that.
so
Let me take these tools out of the
let's
way.
get the tools out of the way. Okay, so go ahead and crank it.
Okay. Give me a second.
As you can see, our gauge is barely moving. All right?
Okay.
Yeah, no compression on that cylinder. Crank it one more time.
All right.
Yeah, so we got 0 compression here. Okay, we're good.
All
so we
right.
found the problem. That's it. Now, Robin,
Yes,
just
sir.
for fun, would you like to remove a spark plug from a good cylinder?
Yes.
So we can kind of just see,
No problem.
maybe let's take either the 1st coil or the 2nd coil out too. Let's put a compression gauge on a different cylinder to see what kind of readings we're gonna have. Now, at this point, we are done with the diagnosis. We already know that,
I gotta remove the tool.
Yeah, that's fine. We're done with the scope.
Okay.
We can remove that. Just to show you guys, right there. Now, once you remove this, we're gonna have to reinstall the
Spark plug.
spark plug back in there, in the 3rd cylinder. give you a ratchet. Amma is not gonna want to hear this.
No.
We're gonna deliver the bad news to him. Oh, I feel bad.
Oh,
I feel
boy.
bad for him.
Spark plug.
There you are.
So this with the scope now, it's basically this what I would use normally.
Yeah,
to
without
test.
without getting intrusive, basically.
Right.
Because what we did on the scope, we're basically doing the same thing.
Right.
But on the scope, as you saw, we didn't take anything apart.
No, absolutely not.
That's a good thing about the scope because you don't have to remove things. You don't have to remove components. Okay, crank it. Nice. Turn it off.
Okay.
As you can see on cylinder 2, we have about 150 psi. All right, so you guys let me know in the comment section. Robin, come take a look at this. You don't
I'm
have
coming.
to crank it again. We're good. We have about 150 of compression. So check that out. What do you
Wow.
think, Robin?
Time saver.
It's time saver, right?
I have to be on top of the scope.
Good, right?
That's my big
You
job.
gotta use the scope, my
Yes,
friend.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Using a scope is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Awesome,
I
awesome.
was telling Robin, now that you're working here, you're gonna be using a scope a lot because
Absolutely.
I love using a scope. So, guys, we're gonna leave this right over here. What do you think, Robin? Any final thoughts, comments?
And, well, he gonna receive a bad news.
He's gonna get a bad news.
So nothing good for
I
him.
mean, yeah. So he actually just bought this car.
Whoa!
He flips cars, so he was gonna flip it.
Whoa!
But yeah, I'm gonna have to give him the bad news. Cameraman Kyler is laughing behind the camera.
This is
I
a
mean,
bad
hey,
buy.
Cameraman Kyler says no. All right, guys, this was fun. This was a quick and easy one. I hope you liked the video. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give it a thumb down. But if you do, tell us why so we can make better videos in the future. If you have any comments, questions, criticism, leave them in the comment box. My man, Robin, thanks
Thank
for
you,
being
man.
here. Thanks for everything you're doing here. Cameraman Kyler, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. See you guys next time. All right, guys, it is the next day. We're gonna do 2 more tests that I forgot to do yesterday. We did a compression test on this engine. We know this engine has 1 dead cylinder, right,
Yes.
Robin?
Yes, it does.
That's what we have. Now, as I was thinking about this off camera, when we stopped filming and cameraman Kyler left, I was thinking about what other tests I could do to just see exactly what happened with this engine. And then I thought about a test that I usually do, but I forgot to do yesterday, was we can use a bore scope
Yes.
and put it in the cylinder
Right.
to see if we have a valve that's sticking open.
Right.
Or maybe if we could also have a broken valve spring.
Yes.
So I told Robin, oh, you know what, we should do it. So let's do it tomorrow morning.
Absolutely.
And see if we can find something. Because if we have a broken valve spring on the 3rd cylinder, it's going to cause the valve to stick open, and that can cause low compression.
Yes.
Or we could have something going on in the cylinder, right?
Yep.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to get under the hood. I am going to hold the camera because our cameraman is not here today. And then Robin will be doing
The work.
But before we do that, I'm going to take you guys in the vehicle. I want to show you the check engine light. I mean, you guys saw this has a dead cylinder. The check engine light is going to be on. But I remember yesterday we didn't show the check engine light on camera, right?
No, we didn't.
So yeah, let's do those quick tests.
Okay.
You know, this is just bonus footage for you guys. What do you
Absolutely.
think?
Great job.
Let's do it?
All right.
All right. So now let's go in the vehicle. I'm going to show you the check engine light first, and then we're going to film whatever we have to do under the hood. All right, let's go in the vehicle. I'm going to start this. Let's see what we got. Let me start the engine. As you can hear, the engine is running. The engine runs very rough, and this vehicle has 169,000 miles. 169,932. And right there, as you can see, the check engine light remains on the dash. All right, so I wanted to show you that. So now I'm gonna turn off the engine. Let's go back under the hood. Robin's gonna do his magic. So we're gonna start by inserting our bore scope in the cylinder. So Robin is gonna remove the ignition coil and the spark plug. Perfect. So there comes the coil. Now he's going to remove the spark plug. Nice. So here comes the plug. Perfect. So now I'm going to grab my bore scope so we can put it in a cylinder and see what we're going to find. All right, so we're going to insert this inside the cylinder. I love this camera. Okay. Now we're going to focus on the iPad.
Can you see?
Yeah, I can see there, but there's still a little glare.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. Oh, maybe right here. I apologize for the glare. I'm gonna try to. Hold on. Let me see if I can turn off this light.
Yes, it's better.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. So now I need to get this thing in the hole.
Still have that little white spot right here.
Let me see if it's this light. Let me turn off this light. Maybe it's the light behind us.
Right. Oh yeah, it's a little bit better.
Is it better?
Yeah. Almost there. Deep.
Come on, get in there.
You can see the pixel.
There.
There you go.
So we are in the cylinder now. Okay, so this is the piston.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm gonna look up. There are our valves.
Wow, it's a beautiful camera.
Look at that. So, oh, is that a broken valve? Look at over there. There's a piece.
The piece, something
Missing.
missing right there.
Let me see if I
Can you
can.
turn it around a little bit?
Yeah, let me see if I can.
And
Right there.
catch it.
Oh, this is a nice shot. So
Beautiful.
there's a piece of the valve that's missing. So this is what's causing low compression.
Oh, yeah,
because
great job.
can you see this? Look
Yes.
at, okay, you guys can see this. Look at this valve over here. I'm sure Amma, my brother, is gonna love to see this. You see this valve? This valve is intact. But when we go over here, there's a huge piece of the valve that's missing. So we were thinking about removing the valve cover,
Yes.
but we don't even have to remove the valve
No.
cover. So this is the problem right here.
Right. It's a head job.
Yeah, look at that. So let me just keep turning. Let's see. Let's look at the other one.
Yes. You have, can I say this on camera?
Yeah, of course.
You have enlightened me about technology.
Oh, really?
In 100%.
And 100%
I
good.
know a little bit about it, but now I'm like, I've started now. I'm like keeping the candy store.
So guys, so Robin is enjoying working here because he's enjoying all the tools that I use to do the diagnosis. Yeah. So I'm just turning the camera around to look at all the valves. Yeah, so this valve over here is good. Let's turn. This one here is good, right? And then here's the one that has the problem. All right, well, I guess we are done.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Robin? Are you convinced?
I am 100% convinced.
You're 100% convinced?
It's like a lot of time from removing valve cover
Yeah.
and taking out cylinder head. This is like, wow, it's a lot of times.
That's a lot, yeah. So there is the problem. Okay, big chunk of the valve missing.
Yep.
So we're done with our diagnosis. We're good. That's it. All right, guys. So we're done with our diagnosis. I mean, we were done yesterday.
Yes.
But I just wanted to see what happened because when we finished doing our testing, I asked Robin, I don't know if you remember, I was like, is there any other test we can do to really prove what went wrong? Because before I called the customer, I mean, we knew we were missing compression in cylinder 3, but I was like, what am I going to tell the customer that caused this? And then I thought about this test. I said, oh, dang, I have a bore scope. I could put a bore scope in the cylinder. If we don't see anything, then we can remove the valve cover to see if there's a broken valve spring. And then Robin was like, yes, you know, let's do it. So what did you think of this quick test that we did?
Absolutely time saving, very smart, very practical way of doing stuff. There's no guessing into it. We have evidence to prove that, hey, the valve is eaten apart.
Yeah.
So it needs a cylinder head job.
Yeah, cylinder head job.
And it's a great way of saving time and also money. If the customer doesn't want to do anything, we can say, oh, we only take out the spark plug, less time we spend into it.
Yeah.
And we keep moving.
Yeah, we keep moving.
And I can say to you and to the world out there, so for techs who are in an environment are working hard, know what they're doing, want more, and we're working, you see you're not moving, your toolbox has wheel for a purpose.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to make that hard decision. I know it's hard. I know it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. But if you don't do it, regret we're tons.
Leave. Yeah. I mean, they say this is America. You can quit, okay? So Robin is saying what he's saying because when he came and talked to me for the first time, I told Robin, you know, I want to create a shop where all the techs will enjoy working. I want to make sure we get paid well, and we use the latest technology, we use the right tools, and we have fun enjoying working together. And I mean, we enjoy working together. And Robin was working at a shop, and he was deciding whether he was going to quit there and come over here. And then when he came over here, then he started telling me, man, I love working here. I'm learning so much. Man, I'm glad I'm here. I'm learning a lot and I'm having fun. This is all it's about. You know, I believe that you should enjoy the people you work with. And you should enjoy where you work because that's where you're going to spend a lot of your time.
Yes.
And if you're miserable and you feel like you're not growing, like I told Robin, I go to training all the time. I get trained. I go to training at least 2 to 3 times a year. You know, and it's required here at our shop to get at least 100 hours of training. So in September, you and I will go to ASTA to get trained. So training always, and this is how it's going to be. The team is going to grow. So if you're a tech watching this, maybe in the future you might join our team. So I'm just sharing the excitement, you know, that we have and all the tests that we do. You know, we always do our best to be as accurate as we can. That's why we check.
Yes.
And that we
don't
check.
Guess.
Yeah, we test and don't guess. Okay?
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
Alrighty.
Okay, so we're gonna leave this right over here. I hope you like it. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumb down. Thanks everybody for being here. See you guys next time.
Please.
Perfect.